Hello again, dear students. In this video, I would like to discuss how you might develop a thesis statement for essay number 4. And in fact, I'm going to discuss two strategies that you might use to develop your thesis statement for essay number 4. The first thing that I would like you to do is go to our syllabus link on Canvas and scroll down to Monday, April 27th. And you'll see that you'll be able to click on an assignment that is due for today. That's the thesis statement handout. I would like you to download the handout that is available for you on that link, because I'm going to walk you through that handout and ask you to interact with the handout as we go. By the end of this video, you will hopefully have a draft thesis statement for your final essay number 4. So the first thing that you'll see on the handout, which is what I'm looking at here, is a brief description of essay number 4. I know that I've already explained what that is in several places, but I'm going to just address it one more time. So in essay number 4, you're writing an argument essay that draws from the research you've already completed in essay number 3. This means that the research for your final essay is already done. So congratulations, this is excellent. Now, you may choose to do additional research for your final essay number 4. That's absolutely fine if you'd like to do additional research. The important thing, though, is that you understand that you already have two good sources from your essay number 3 that you will hopefully be able to use in essay number 4. So in this handout, I'm going to offer two strategies for developing a thesis statement. Strategy number 1 is what I discuss on the very first page of the handout. And I call this strategy answer your research question, or explain why it is difficult to answer your research question. So the first thing that you might try to develop a thesis statement for essay number 4 is go back to the original research question that you came up with in essay number 3. If you look on your handout, I have an example. So let's pretend that my research questions for essay number 3 were, why do students plagiarize? How can instructors help students avoid plagiarism? And so I have my research questions listed here on the first page in red. To develop a thesis statement, I might think about my research question, think about my research from essay number 3, and come up with an answer for my research question. So the answer to my questions are, students plagiarize because they are unmotivated in certain classes, because they often struggle with time management, and because they don't understand the class content. Thus, instructors should create engaging assignments with clear deadlines and meet with their students at least twice during the semester. So here, I have answered my thesis statement, I have answered my research questions in red. The answer to my research question, what I just read to you, is my thesis statement for essay number 4. So if you like this strategy, I encourage you to try the same process below. And I'm sorry if you're hearing some strange noises right now. One of my cats is purring very loudly and is moving my computer around, so my apologies. But at the bottom of your first page of your handout, I say here, let's practice strategy 1 for developing a thesis statement. So the first thing I'd like you to do is list your research question from essay number 3. And it says type your question here in the red section. Go ahead and type your research question from essay number 3. Once you finish that, I'd like you to do the last thing listed on the handout. It says, based on your research, respond to your research question in a 1 to 3 sentence thesis statement. And again, it says type your answer here. So go ahead and see if your research has helped you be able to respond to your thesis statement. If so, if you can answer your research question based on your research, go ahead and write that down, and that might very well be your thesis statement for essay number 4. Now, it is also possible that some of you have a question where your research just helped you realize, it's really difficult to answer my research question. If that's the case, you absolutely can write essay number 4 that explains why it is so difficult to answer your research question. And if you have any questions about what that kind of thesis would look like, you can go ahead and email me or call me and I'll help you through that. I would like to offer you a second strategy for developing a thesis statement. If you go to page 2, I'm sorry, I'm jerking because my cat is now nibbling my arm to get attention. My, oh my. If you could go to the second page of your handout, and it says at the top, strategy number 2, use claim type theory to develop an interesting and clear thesis statement. So this is actually the method that I use to develop most of my thesis statements. So we already know that when we make an argument, we offer claims that are supported with evidence, right? Those claims typically follow certain types. We make different types of claims. What I do in this handout on page 2 is I describe the most common types of claims that end up showing up in the kind of paper you're writing, in this essay number 4 argument essay. What I would like you to note is that I give a description of each type of claim. I then give an example of each type of claim. Note that in each sample thesis I provide, my main claim is in red. The reasons for me making my main claim are in green. And every once in a while, I actually developed like an opposing view or a counter argument. I briefly discuss that in purple. So let's look at an example. My first claim type is a claim of value. This is what we have when we evaluate something, when we often focus on the positive or negative effects or consequences of something. So this is when we might say, blank is a problem, or blank is wrong, or blank is a good idea, because it will lead to the following consequences. So that would be us evaluating something. This is a great idea because this good stuff will happen. Or, hey, you know what? This is really a problem because of these negative things that happen. Here's my example. And again, I begin with a sentence in purple. That's my opposing view. So I say, many of my colleagues suggest that we should not mention ghostwriting to our students, but I disagree. Now here's my thesis. Talking with students about ghostwriting is a good idea, right? So that's my main claim. It's in red. This is when I'm saying one thing is a good idea. Talking with students about ghostwriting is a good idea. Now I have to answer the question, why is it a good idea? You'll see that in green. It's a good idea because 1, it can help students learn why we care about academic integrity. 2, because students can learn the negative emotional effects of cheating. And 3, because students can discover the long-term value of doing their own work. So there's my thesis statement. And here I used the claim type strategy method to develop this thesis statement. I'm making a claim of value because I'm evaluating something, and I've developed reasons that help me make my claim. So again, I begin with my opposing view, I make my central claim, and then I list my reasons. Opposing view, many of my colleagues suggest that we should not mention ghostwriting to our students, but I disagree. My claim, talking with students about ghostwriting is a good idea because it can help students learn why we care about academic integrity, because students can learn the negative emotional effects of cheating, and because students can discover the long-term value of doing their own work. So I have a second example for the claim of value, and I note sometimes we propose solutions and then evaluate why the solutions are good or bad. So here's another example. A separate paper. My main claim is in red. All Discover classes at Marymount should include a unit on how to avoid intentional and unintentional plagiarism. So that's my main claim, right? I'm proposing a solution. Now I have to say why it's good. This solution would help students, 1, learn the importance of academic integrity, 2, discover ways to paraphrase properly, and 3, remember citation rules. So here, I would still call this a claim of value because I'm evaluating a solution that I proposed. So again, my main claim, all Discover classes at Marymount should include a unit on how to avoid intentional and unintentional plagiarism. This would help students learn the importance of academic integrity, discover ways to paraphrase properly, and remember citation rules. So here are 2 good examples of how you might develop a thesis statement that follows a claim of value, where we evaluate something. Number 2 is a claim of causation. This is when we argue that certain things have caused something else to happen. So we might say something has contributed or caused this other thing to happen. This is an argument. Often the causes of things are debated. So I have an example here. My main claim, plagiarism is a problem, right? And then I'm going to argue what has caused it. So plagiarism is a problem that is likely caused by 1, a student's lack of confidence, 2, a lack of time management skills, and 3, a lack of understanding of assignments and texts. So here I have a claim of causation. My main claim is in red. Plagiarism is a problem. And my reasons why it's a problem are in green, and they talk about the causes of the problem. So plagiarism is a problem that's likely caused by a student's lack of confidence, a lack of time management, or a lack of understanding of assignments and texts. The third claim type that I would like to discuss with you today is called a claim of definition. This can be a really fun paper to write if you have kind of the right research to help you make this claim. In a claim of definition, we argue that something should or should not be defined a certain way, and often this is kind of controversial. So I have an example here, and I have kind of the opposing view in purple, then my claim in red, and then my reasons in green. And I'm going to read the example to help illustrate this. So some academics argue that hiring a ghostwriter is not an act of plagiarism. However, I argue that relying on a ghostwriter is plagiarism. So here I'm making the argument, hiring a ghostwriter is plagiarism.